Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Shravika Jain and I am a third year student from Economics Honours from Satyavati College itself. And I warmly welcome you all to the first ever episode, season 1 of Tea with TEDxSatyawati College. So, to brief you with the show, here we will be celebrating and getting its insights about a student from a very own college and getting to know their story that will inspire all of us here. And as Ted says, we will get to know their ideas worth spreading. So, I welcome all of you here and I warmly welcome Keerthana Madathil in between us. So, hi Keerthana, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Very
It's a pleasure
excited.
to have you with us today here. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great, great. I'm doing good. So it's COVID time and we should all be safe. Uh,
How are the
okay.
COVID cases there? All good.
It's very cold in Delhi. I think you're from South, right? So
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
it's a little tropical temperature, right?
Yep, yep. Not that cold as in Delhi.
Okay. So, as all of you know, that the topic of this session is comeback is greater than setback. So basically, all of us here experience a setback in our lives once or twice or more than that, and failures probably every day. And it's very difficult to make a comeback when our hope is depleted. But when if we will stay the course, we can discover God's power to reverse the irreversible. And one such person like that is here with us today, Keerthana, who did not only fight dyslexia at a very young age, but also traveled that extra mile to pursue her choice of course in her choice of university. And it is really inspiring for all of us because being dyslexic and despite of being dyslexic and getting demotivations from a lot of people around her, she managed to be very strong in all of this. And it's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm very excited to hear your story, Keerthana, and I'm sure that all the people who are watching us right now will be really inspired by your story. And I hope you remain with us till the very end, because I bet this is going to be really exciting and inspiring for all of you. Welcome, Keerthana, once again. So, before I begin, I would first like to know, and I would like that everybody would know here, that what exactly dyslexia is. So, if you
Okay,
can
so
brief
I'll
us with
begin by explaining that. I'll start with learning disability. Basically, it is where you have a problem with sending or receiving and processing that information. So, dyslexia is the most common form of learning disability, and it basically means that you have difficulty in spelling, grammar, and understanding, comprehending these. Like, for example, you might turn your A's into E's, your C's into D's, and things like words, tree, you might mess it up. And you wouldn't even notice. Like, you would think, I've aced the sentence, I've done my best. But then, no, you will end up having a lot of red marks. So, that is basically a gist of dyslexia for you. And for me personally, I've struggled with spelling. I'm very fortunate to have not that great a scale of dyslexia, but I did have my own troubles with it, and I'll be sharing it with you tonight.
Okay, great. I'm really excited for that. So, now you can tell us, like, when did you actually, get to know that you have dyslexia? When did you find it? And then how did you deal with it afterwards?
Okay, so I'll start with my parents. I'll tell a story. So my parents are normal government school children. So the only sole purpose of putting me in an ICSE school for them was to be good in English. They wanted someone to translate their letters, their guarantee cards. This is basically why they put me in an ICSE school. And it did backfire a little bit for them. So it started in second grade. I was fine till then learning spellings like any normal kid would. I was figuring my spellings out. But in second grade, ICSE had introduced this very weird marking scheme. Like they would cut like half a mark for every wrong spelling. So
Every
in
wrong
the end of
spelling,
the
half
day,
a mark.
half a mark for every wrong spelling.
Thank God we
So
didn't
in the
have
end
that
of
in
the day,
CBSE.
Yeah, you bet. It was very, very, very difficult to score marks there because
I
for
have a
me,
different
dyslexia.
respect for, different level of respect for ICSE students. Definitely.
And then you have me who studied in ICSE with dyslexia, failing all my papers. So it began in second grade. That's when like people started to notice, okay, there is something wrong with this kid because I was the only person in my school to set a record for getting minus marks. I was a very outstanding child. I got minus marks in class test. So that's how I was very famous for that in my batch. So that's basically how everybody turned an eye to me, and that's when I also started realizing like others are getting it properly. They learned in first, second, third. They're getting their spellings properly, but I am in third. That I'm still figuring out my tree, t, d's, e's. So that's when it struck me, okay, I have a problem, we have to sort this out. And then later in seventh grade is when we officially gave this a name. I was told that I have dyslexia by a teacher. We all have that angel who comes, appears to us in form of a teacher and guides
Yes.
us. So she was that angel for me. She's the one who told me about a therapy center. You can go here and you can sort things out with your learning disability. So basically that's how I figured it out.
Okay, that's great. So, in between this, then how did you, deal with it afterwards? Like, when you got to know that you have dyslexia and you know it's a problem. So, in school, how did you deal with it, and how were people around you?
I'll talk about how people around me was, and then I'll tell about myself.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I'll tell you a very fun thing. We all have nicknames in school, right? I'm sure you had one.
Yeah,
What was
all of
yours?
us
What
have.
was yours? Spill it.
I had very funny nicknames. One I could recall right now is they called me Chuhiya. Chuhiya, if you know what it is.
What does that
So
mean?
it's a Hindi word. It's a Hindi word for mouse.
Oh, then we are of the same species when it comes to nicknames. High five.
Okay, I find. What was yours?
Because yeah, mine was Kiri. So basically, Keerthana's Kiri, the first letters, but it meant in Malayalam, it was a rat. Hence the same species that I told you right now. So it basically implied on how like rats bite things up and leave it half bitten. And the room is a mess in the end of the day when a rat is around. It bites things, leaves it half bitten. The same, implying the same with my spellings. I would not be able to finish off a sentence, and the sentence was basically a mess in the end of the day when it's in my hands. So that's what it implied, and it didn't make it any much great for me as an experienced child in middle school because a teacher gave it to me. So things like this really tend to, it hurts as a kid because you're trying to figure out yourself. You're fighting your own battle, and then you come to school with the hope of, making things right. Okay, I used to go to school and think like, okay, today I'm only going to make 5 spelling mistakes in this period, and then you end up having nicknames and things, and it just comes down. So I think a lot of it has to deal with embarrassment, the school experience, embarrassment, low self-esteem. So by the end of 7th standard, 8th standard, my self-esteem was gone. It was so bad. I couldn't even feel like it's way down. So demotivation is a very, very huge factor of kids having such problem, and it's something that we really have to address because I know personally a lot of people that I've met in therapy with the same condition, and unfortunately a lot worse than my conditions, and then they do not get the same opportunity to study in a school because of embarrassment and teasing. And the thing is, I found that a lot of students were much appreciating like the effort that I was taking uh, than like actual teachers or adults as we call them, because I'm sure that it was not something that they did out of their mind to hurt me or something, but the thing is lack of knowledge about such things.
Yeah, they were conditioned
They
like
expect,
that, basically.
it's very conditioned, and you know how our system works, the education system. So that's that. It was it was a mess.
So, okay. So what's your like status right now? And But like dyslexia is incurable, right? So how do you deal with it right now?
uh, Dyslexia, it's a very hard term that dyslexia isn't incurable. I would say that you can work on dyslexia. It will be there. I still struggle with it. Today morning I woke up, I practiced my spellings, and then I'm sitting here. Just because I'm sitting here and talking about dyslexia doesn't mean that it's gone from me. It's not something that it will, and I know that I'm here only because I practiced, and I
So you
really want
practice.
to be.
So you
Haha,
practice
you have
spelling
certain
every day.
exercises. Yeah, you if you want, you can. It depends on your frequency and how much it works up. Because see, you have certain coordination exercises, mind body coordination exercises that will help you to have a little more concentrated attention span and things like that. It makes the frequency of such occurrences a little less. But then, in the end of the day, when I write even an essay for my work or my internship or something, I will have to sit and figure it out. And then it makes it so much easier that now we have autocorrect, so that I can blame it on autocorrect when my people are like, sorry, it's autocorrect. I'm not dyslexic at all. It's autocorrect. So
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
that.
Okay, okay. So, like, we all know that when, I have seen Tare Zameen Par, and from that only I got to know about dyslexia because that movie actually showed what this is. So, in that movie, it showed the parents were not very supportive of that. But I would like to know your story, like, how were your parents, how was your family and friends?
My friends were very supportive. They were very supportive. Coming to my family, again, they didn't know what this is. The whole deal was so. The thing is, like, my parents put me in that school specifically. They put to like learn about English. They put a child with dyslexia in an ICSE school to learn English. So the sole motive in the end of my academics was like my parents wanted me to be good in English, which I was. Like, I really liked English as a subject, and I'm still pursuing English. So, but then the thing is, when it come to accepting, it was hard in first because I used to get beaten a lot. I used to get scolded. They used to blame my attention span. They were like, "Kid just wants to go out and play," and she just wants attention. She's like playing around. She's a kid. What does she know? These are the common things that everybody hears, and I'm very sure a lot of you who's seeing has heard all these, right? And then as a kid, I thought that okay, maybe what the adults saying are right. It is my problem. It is like I am not trying enough, and I might be a little naughty. That's why I'm doing this. And then I started accepting it. I was like, I am bad at spellings. I accepted it. I accepted it entirely until seventh standard. I'll tell you an incident. So seventh standard, I was a captain in English class because I was the most notorious person there. She made me a captain. So because she couldn't handle me, she was talking to me. So it's better that I do a little good to her. So that's why she made me a captain. And the thing is, like, I made a lot of mistakes that day. So a lot of spelling mistakes. On a normal day, I might be making like 10 to 12 mistakes. I made like 20 to 25 mistakes that day. It was a very bad day for me. And then there was this assignment in class. We had to talk about what we wanted to become, what we were willing to pursue in the future. And then everybody was like, doctor, engineer, I want to pursue engineering, I want to take sociology, I want to take maths. And then when it came to me, I said, ma'am, I really like English. I want to take English. I want to become an English professor. And I've never seen my class laugh like this. Everybody erupted. Everyone was like laughing. Even the teacher was like, she felt bad for me, but then she couldn't help it because it was like I've already made so much spelling mistakes. I'm in ninth standard. I'm in 10th standard trying to figure my things out. Every other kid was going to like a tuition class. They wanted full mark in 10th standard. Booking us college for further reasons. And I was going to this therapy center to figure my spellings out. And then I was there telling like I want to become an English professor. So the teacher was like, okay, so let's start with one. She's like, okay, everybody stop laughing, and we'll make her write one spelling on the board. and she gave me a chalk. She asked me to write the spelling of tongue. It's very simple, right? You can do it. Anybody watching this can do it. I was in ninth standard, and I went to the board. My hands were shivering. I started writing P-A-G-T, and it was a mess. It was like teacher was laughing, children was laughing, people, damn it, people who were like walking in the hall was also laughing because this was something that they couldn't do, and
Yeah,
it was
it's
so
difficult for
embarrassing.
them to understand that it's a learning
It
disability
was
and it's not that you're
exactly,
doing it purposely.
exactly. They thought I was naughty. I was, making fun. But then the thing is, I was struggling. I couldn't know. I know the spelling in my head, but I'm not supposed. A's are becoming e's. So it was a mess. That day was a mess. I ran to my house. I cried that day, and then that day is when I like thought, okay, Keerthana, this is enough with you today. Tomorrow onwards, you're going to start working. Because although I had, taken therapy and got my exercises, but I didn't work on it. Because the thing is, I went with the flow. I was like, yeah, I'm a naughty kid. This is what I do. Everyone was normalizing it. So I also normalized it. I never once took the courage to, talk to myself about it. So that's that I think we can all, learn something from that. Because the moment that I sat myself down and I started talking to myself, I was like, Keerthana, enough with what you've done. And I know there's a lot of embarrassment, a lot of, making fun of you. This is not how you want to be treated the rest of your life. Because, see, people don't care. Once you do something yourself, and you have to prove a point to yourself that you can do it first. Because myself, I was degrading me. That is the
Hmm.
first lesson that I've learned here. Because it's something that I tell everybody that I ran this to everyone. I was like, the moment I started to, sit myself down and think to myself that I can make a change in this, I can work on myself, everybody else started to cope up with it. Everybody started to understand that, okay, she's making an effort. This is not her problem, she's making an effort. So that's when I realized, like, all of this, all of the other people weren't exactly laughing at me. It was me who's thinking like, oh damn, they're like laughing at me. I should be very embarrassed. Kirtana, you're in ninth standard. You should get your spellings right. You're very embarrassing. You embarrass yourself. That's where the problem is. The moment you stop talking about what others are thinking about you, your whole problem process there, and then it's just you with you now. It's you and you figure your things out with yourself.
That's true. It's very important to keep ourselves motivated, at these times
Exactly.
because nobody will come. And at the end of the day, it's you with yourself. And there are times when even our parents, our siblings are not supportive of us. And that time only we are there. But that's really appreciable of you. But also, I heard that you were also content head of CDF, right? Which is really great because the story you're telling me, I would never think that a person like that can become a content head, of English. That's really, really inspiring for me, and really happy to hear this from you. Also, you know, at these times, it becomes difficult, become really difficult to keep ourselves with a hope that we will be doing something after that because maybe I will be thinking that okay, I have this problem, so I have an excuse, so I won't do. And people like us make so many excuses these days, but do not understand that it's actually the comeback which is always greater than setback, right?
Exactly.
So since we are here under TEDx, so as we know that TED used to propagate this idea worth spreading. So I would like to know your idea that you would like to tell to our audience today and the idea that you think is worth spreading.
Okay, so basically, as I told you, discussed with you earlier, like basically the idea that I want to put forward is that you might have several comebacks, I mean setbacks, right? Several setbacks. It doesn't matter, and then you can't really help it also. So live with it. What matters is that you have a comeback. So, and then you have to figure it out, right? It starts with first step. First step of any comeback starts with you yourself sitting yourself down asking yourself what is wrong with you, what do I need to water, what are the ingredients that I should be giving you in order to make a good meal, what should I be giving you. So once you start doing that to yourself, you have a lot, you will get a lot of things that you have to work on. Because I'm still working on something that I figured out in 7th standard. So you have a lifelong figuring out to do, you have lifelong to work things out, but then you will end up liking the process. You will start liking how it turns out to be, and that gives you motivation. See, it's very easy to say if there is a will, there is a way, but how do you figure out this will is a big question that only you can answer, right? So it's different for everybody. So I figured it out because I wanted a change in myself. I wanted to prove it to people. I wanted to prove it to myself because I was very demotivated, and I used to sit and cry. Sit and cry like crazy. I think I've set a record of crying in school washrooms. They should be giving me one because nobody has used the school washrooms as much as I have simply for crying. So, like I made friends with the cleaning people who used to come there because they used to see me cry every single day. And by the day I graduated, they were like, "Beta, stop crying. I hope you find peace in your life after this." So that is one, and it's very human to cry. It's okay to cry. You don't really have to cover things up, and it's very very okay to show emotions, especially when you're facing something like this. It's very, very, very important to do it. I cannot stress how much crying or letting go of things, screaming, it can be any way of relieving stress, right? How much that has helped me. Because you cry, it's fine, you cry, but then make sure you don't sit there and just cry about it. Make sure you build a bridge and then get over it. Because you use all the concrete, what you use to concrete your bridge is like the demotivation, the embarrassment, the whatever negative comments that you come, use it to concrete that bridge and get over what you're crying. Okay, that's the first one that I want to say. And then the second one is that to keep taking up challenges, because every time you keep taking a challenge, you will learn something about yourself. I am sitting here right now only because I took up this challenge. I'm a very normal. I'm not even a very great person. Just because anybody who's watching this, please don't think that I have my life figured out. Please no. I sit and cry. I am a very very human girl. So I do not have things figured out. It's okay to have not things figured out. The point is that you take up challenges, you keep realizing something about yourself every single day until you finally have something click. So see, for me with dyslexia, as you said, I was the content hit. So first day in work, I cried because I was getting people's content to review, and I had to edit it. I had to do it. So I was making mistakes of my own, and the thing is, it pushed me to do certain things and to take a lot of effort into working on it. And in the end of the day, it really helped me. And now I'm really proud of myself. I'm really happy that I took that up. So if at all I had been like I backed out of it, I'm sure it wouldn't help me. I would be in square one itself. I would be in the exact same spot that I was in yesterday. So that is something that I want to convey.
So your idea is cry a river and then build a bridge later. So that's really important. Crying really helps, and you cry today, and then the next day you come up more stronger, and that's really important. I agree. Um, if we have a lot of audience here, we have 46 people watching us today, and if I hope you have heard the full story, and if you have any questions that you would like to put up to Keerthana, please you can put it up here and we'll take that up because we have a few minutes and we can take that question up. If you have any questions, please put it up here. No questions yet. Can you find any question, Keerthana?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I think my screen is stuck.
No, even I
Okay, now
can't
it's
find.
now it's fine.
Okay, so Fayaz Ashraf is asking, Keerthana ma'am, give one best advice for us. So she just gave an idea about spreading, but okay, how would you like to answer?
I think that's the basic thing that I would. I'm okay. First of all, I'm nobody to give advice. I'm a very bad person that you can ask advice from. Uh, now that you've asked it, I'll tell you to take up new challenges, as I told you earlier, because you will figure something out about yourself. You will discover a new you.
Right.
Is there one more question?
I
Okay.
hope Keerthana has answered your question. Is there? Ha. Okay, so there's another question by Tanu. What would you like to advise another younger dyslexic kid of your, if you come across any? That's a really good question.
Now, I think I know it's very hard for you because if anybody watching this is dyslexic and is struggling with anything that is like that, please know that whatever that matters right now will not matter in a couple of years if you're working for it. And I know that there is very little that you can do about it. There is very, very little that you can, do to actually write things out and make it proper in physical. There's very little that you can do about it, and it's completely fine. Not everybody is the same. But something that I want to tell you is that please make sure that you are confident with yourself. Never be embarrassed about what comes to you in life, because you didn't do anything to get it, and then it's nothing to be embarrassed about, because it, it's something you can help about it. So
Yeah.
please don't feel bad about like what you have it. That's the number one thing that you can do to feel better. Because I know a lot of kids. I've met a lot of kids in my therapy sessions, and then they have this feeling, embarrassment to go to school, handle with children who are, tagged normal when they have a disability. Because the naming itself is a very, very wrong thing that you can give somebody. Because once when I was told that, you have a learning disability, I was like, disability? Okay, I am disabled. Like, that's something you're telling that kid, that you're not normal. Please don't think about it. Please, please, please. The world will say a lot of things to you. Don't take it into heart. You are who you are, and be proud of who you are, and work for what you want to become. So there is nothing that's stopping you if you really want to become what you want to.
So we have another question. I think this is the last question we'll take up. Chavi is asking, like, do you still struggle with reading? Like with reading
Yes,
specifically?
reading, specifically reading, I do not struggle with reading. I struggle with spellings and all. I think dyslexia wanted me to take that course instead of reading. It granted me with spelling, so uh, unfortunately, I don't have any problem with reading. Although I tend to skip a little bit here and there, but I used to. I think my mom used to tell me, I don't remember this, my mom used to tell me that I used to skip like lines and then read it like the other way around. So,
But
but
I think you
thankfully
have
with the,
practiced a lot to come to this place that where you are. And
it's
that's very
okay now.
important. If a person will
Yeah.
demotivate himself or herself, then I think then they will face difficulty even after 5 years or 6 years. So that's true. That's what inspiring about you, for me at least. Just last question. I will take this one. Also, did you contact your school teachers just to tell them that you were struggling with your life at that time, so
Oh,
that they don't behave the way they behave with you with any other kid? Do you
no,
think you should do
because I
that?
was growing up, see, I was already a big headache for them because I was naughty. I was very naughty. I was very naughty kid. But then on top of that, I was bad at academics because of this particular reason. So I think a lot of them understood it, but then again, it's not. I wouldn't blame them or anything. They were a little mean to me, but it was not intentionally. It was not at all intentionally. It was just class one. Uh, so, okay, what was the question again? I lost.
So, do you think you should contact them and tell them that so that they don't behave the same way with any other kid later?
If you are facing something like this, please tell them. It's something that I did not do because I was very, embarrassed about it. Please tell it. Please, if you are having a problem, please let your teachers know. And I'm sure they will be supportive of it. because I didn't tell them, and then I had to pay a big price for it also. So yeah, I would advise you to tell them.
We are very proud of you, and even Srinath Rasi is writing proud. So I think that's one of your followers. So that is really, really great. And it was a pleasure listening to your story, Keerthana. And I hope that everybody sitting here take something with them today home. They are all at home, but again, take something with them, because it was really nice hearing you. And even I face setbacks, and even I get demotivated, but today listening to you gave me really good motivation, and I'm sure for the next at least coming 2 weeks I'll be motivated throughout. So thank you for
Oh,
that, Keerthana. Yes, and so I think we will be ending this session now. But before I go, I would like to tell all of you that we will be coming with these more episodes of this later. So if you think you have a story to tell, if you think you have an idea worth spreading, you can fill the form that we have in TEDxSatyawatiCollege website, and we will take you up here as a guest. So if you think you can come up here and share your story with all of us, that would be really great. And we will be pleased to have you here with us, like we did, Keerthana. And I think this first episode was a great success with Keerthana and a great beginning of this series. Thank you,
all the
Keerthana,
best
for
for you
joining
guys.
us.
Thank you so much for having me. All the best for the future episodes. I'm sure you will rock it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's the end. Uh, Thank you guys for joining. This really means a lot. We did not expect so many of you here, but this was really overwhelming for all of us. Thank you so much for all the people who are sending hearts and sending emojis, nice emojis, and sending
How come
can't
I
ask for
can't
a bit.
see any?
Sorry, what did you say?
I can't see anything. I'm sorry, somebody. I can't see any of the, writing.
Oh, okay, I can see there are many hearts, there are many red hearts for you. And one says that it's a great kickoff for the TED session. And our TEDx, we'll be organizing it soon. So stay tuned with the page. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And now we will be ending this session. Thank you, everybody. It was my pleasure to host this show, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye. And stay safe,
Bye.
everybody. Peace out.
Peace out.